Welcome to part 3 of the e-liquid ingredient log database thingy. I think where we left it yesterday, and I'm not going to do a recap because that would just be a waste of time, but I think where we left it yesterday is we created these two tables. The ingredient types we had put values in for, and the ingredients table we had just done the design of. There is no data in there yet. So what we need to do is to get the data in there. And obviously that is going to come from our old, I don't know why I'm saying all the time, my old Excel spreadsheet thing here. And the aim of this is to get all of the actual unique ingredients, not the bottles. So for example, I've got Capella Caramel V2 is the ingredient. Capella Caramel V2_5 is just a bottle of that. So there could be many bottles of Capella Caramel V2. But there is only one Capella Caramel V2 ingredient, and that's what we're trying to get today. So I have started working on a sheet here, and basically what I've done is I've made the executive decision to change things a little bit. As you can see here, I had Cap for Capella, the manufacturer, at the beginning of the ingredient name. Now, seeing as I probably want to sort these alphabetically later and to, easier find an actual ingredient, all the Capella ones are going to come at the beginning, which isn't really that useful. So what I've decided to do is, by using some formulas, I have removed the manufacturer name from the beginning, and in most cases I have stuck it at the end like this. So we've now got Amaretto, and then in another column Capella. I have also sorted this alphabetically now, with the exception of these top three, as these are special cases. So my nicotine base and my plain VG and my plain VG are at the top, and as they are kind of manufacturer independent, it doesn't really matter who makes those. I'll just put multi in. So I have also done a few extra things into starting to replicate, let's have a look at it, this database format here. So I can just copy and paste all of the data in from Excel into the database. So what I've done is I've sort of made a clone of that in here. Let's unhide it. So we can see we have the same thing: ingredient ID, ingredient name, type, blah, 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 which is the same as this. And I have started to build up what I want in here. So as you can see, this is going to be automatically populated by Access, so I leave that blank. And what I've done is, this is how I want my ingredients to look. The actual name of the ingredient first, and then the manufacturer, if it's got a specific manufacturer. If it doesn't, then it's multi. So Amaretto hyphen, and then in brackets Cap for Capella. I've then filled in all of the ingredient types, which is fairly straightforward because there's one nicotine, one VG, one PG, and in my case all the rest are PG flavors. I have filled in the nicotine content for each of these ingredients. Obviously only the nicotine base has nicotine in it. And I have filled in the weight of these ingredients per milliliter. So my nicotine has a weight, my VG has a weight, my PG has a weight, and all of the PG flavors have a weight. And they are all 1 gram per milliliter for the flavors, and yeah, this is it, that there. So then what I should be able to do is to select all of my data that I've created here in Excel. Oops, not all of that. Let's go down. We need to include the first blank column as well. So we'll copy that. We'll go into Access and we shall paste append. And yes, we want to paste in 56 records. And there we go. We now have our data in. So each one has a unique ID. We have the name of the ingredient now combined with the manufacturer at the end. We have the type, we have the NIC content, we have the weight. So that's data now populated into our first two tables. We've got the ingredient types, which will become part of a drop-down list when we want to add ingredients. And we have the actual ingredients that I have in stock at the moment, or have had in stock at the moment. So I guess what we need now is a form so that when we want to add a new ingredient that hasn't already been through my HQ here, yeah, we'll need a little form so that we can add an ingredient into this table without having to go in and manually do it this way. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a form for this ingredients table so that we can fill in data in a nice form and sort of lay it out all nicely eventually, rather than having to type it into this bare table. So we'll just select the table that we want to create a form for, click the old form button, and let's actually have a good look at it. So that's it done really. That's the UI for the table already done. So much quicker than having to do it with PHP and HTML and whatever else you might want to choose. So we can have a look through, and there we are. We've got a record for each of our ingredients. If we go back to the first one, we're not going to bother actually formatting this to make it look nice yet. We'll do all that at the end. We'll just get the functionality right first, I think. So yeah, we've got the ID, we've got the name, we've got the type, we've got the nick content, and we've got the weight per mil. Now, as I mentioned, if we were going to add an ingredient in now, so let's go to the end, and we've got a new one here. You can see that it's defaulting to PG flavor, but I don't really want to have to remember to put in PG flavor or change it to nick or change it to VG or PG. I want to keep them to exactly the same options each time. So we want to change this into a drop down. And yeah, everything else is fine. That defaults to 0, that defaults to 1, that's okay. Obviously the ID is set by Access itself, so that's not a problem. But the ingredient name, now I don't want to have to remember what all of those 3-letter abbreviations or 4 letters or whatever it happens to be. I don't have to remember that it's uppercase CAP for Capella. I just want to type in the ingredient name and then be able to select from a list of manufacturers, you know, which one is making that. So I just want to have a drop down here saying CAP, TPA, etc, etc. Put in my ingredient name, click on the drop down, select CAP, do the same for the ingredient type from a drop down, and then no mistakes can be made. I'm also going to need to do a little bit of extra buttons on here, because eventually I'll get rid of all of the UI from Access itself, so I won't have these controls and this and that. So I'll need to add a couple of buttons on here. One to abort the entry, so that if I have typed in some new data like this, it has started creating a new record. I want to be able to abort that entry, undo it all, forget that, not add the new ingredient. And I also want one just to close the form and say, yep, I'm done, save it or whatever. So we're going to need to add a few things into this form, which we will do tomorrow. Watching paint dry would be more interesting.